This program is an indispensable tool for bookkeepers, accountants, and financial advisors. Even financial advisors who specifically steer clear of submitting tax returns for clients are always asked questions regarding tax matters such as capital gains tax, tax on lump sums from retirement funds, etc. This program offers simple calculators with on-screen help and access to dozens of short video lectures explaining each subject featured in the calculators. Clicking on this first icon will open the RF Advantage calculator. This is the Retirement Fund Advantage calculator. As an example, our client earned a salary of 600,000 Rand and a travel allowance of 100,000 Rand. 80,000 Rand of the travel allowance is included as remuneration for pay-as-you-earn. We've entered 680,000 for remuneration income excluding capital gains, and we've entered 600,000 for taxable income excluding capital gains, and we have said that the client has no capital gains income. We propose the client take an RA of 10,000 Rand a month. The program shows that the client will realize a tax saving of 36.4% of the 120,000 Rand a year investment. Of the 120,000 Rand a year investment premium, SARS will effectively be paying 43,680 Rand and the client will be paying 76,320 Rand. This means the client will be reaping all the financial benefits of 120,000 Rand a year RA, but will only be paying 76,320 for it. This icon will access the estate duty estimator. It is well nigh impossible to get a client to produce all the data required to do a comprehensive estate duty and executor's fees calculation. This calculator is designed to produce a simple estimate of estate duty and executor's fees that would have to be paid in the event of death by entering only a few amounts. The program is designed to display an estimate of whether 2,000 Rand or 2 million Rand would be required. The blue info button will offer more information on what amounts we enter where. The settings button allows the user to set rates and amounts. This icon will access inflation projections. This calculator shows the evils of inflation and, more than anything else, shows the necessity of investing for the future. If we take an item costing 6,000 Rand today, then with inflation at say 8%, the calculator displays the projected cost in 30 years' time would be over 60,000 Rand. In other words, if it costs you 6,000 Rand a month for food today, then when you go on pension in 30 years' time, it will cost you 60,376 Rand a month for food. Will your current pension be enough, or should you now start putting your money away for your future? The calculator also shows that if you put 60,000 Rand under your pillow today and took it out in 30 years' time, it would buy you something for about 596 Rand. An item that cost 569 Rand 30 years ago would cost 6,000 Rand today. If we say that the inflation rate on food is more like 10%, then we can use the spin button to increase the rate and all the numbers change. This icon will open the loans calculators with 3 loans calculators. The first loans calculator allows you to determine any unknown factor in the loan formula. Simply select the unknown factor you want to determine as the calculate mode and enter the other amounts. The calculator offers annual and monthly amortizations as well as a 3D annual graph. The second loans calculator is a bond buster calculator, which shows how much can be saved by paying extra on top of the regular monthly repayment. Our example shows a loan of 1 million rand taken over 20 years at 10% interest. The calculator shows the total interest and total repayments. We can see that with interest we will be paying over 2.3 million for our 1 million rand loan. If we then invest an extra voluntary amount of say 2,000 rand added to the normal monthly repayment, we see that this will reduce the loan period from 240 months to 151 months, which means that our total repayment are reduced by over 554,000 rand. Notice that this calculator has changed our voluntary extra payment of 2,000 rand to 2,014 rand and 79 cents because 2,014 and 79 cents is needed to finish the loan in an exact number of months. This icon opens the life of capital calculator. This calculator shows how long an invested capital amount would provide an inflation-linked income, optionally with tax rates included. If we won 10 million on the lotto and invested it at 10%, let's say our tax rate was 40% and we wanted a 5% annual increase in income. The calculator shows us that all our money, capital and interest, would be gone in 9 years. If we look at the amortization table, we can see the first year shows our 10 million capital earns after-tax interest of 600,000 rand. We need 1.2 million the first year, and the 600,000 interest is just not enough. So we take another 600,000 out of the capital to make up the 1.2 million required. So the capital in year 2 is 9.4 million and earns only 564,000 interest in year 2. We need 5% more income in year 2, so we have to take even more out of the capital. We are on a downward spiral, and if you look at year 10, you will see that we do not have enough capital and interest to provide the more than 1.8 million income we need in year 10 with inflation. That is why the calculator shows our invested 10 million will only last for 9 years. The graph illustrates this as well. These graphs have their own toolbar where you can change the style of the graph, you can rotate the graphs, or even cut and paste the graph as a picture into other Windows software such as Word or Outlook, etc. This icon opens the income from share portfolios. In order to beat SARS, poor returns from bank investments and inflation, many investors turn to the stock market. This calculator shows how an amount of money invested in a share portfolio can achieve this. The program and its own income from shares video lecture explain exactly how this type of investments work and explains the tax advantages of investing in a share portfolio. This icon opens some banking calculations with 3 different banking calculations. The first banking calculator is a daily balance interest calculator. This is a calculator that people in finance use every day. In our example, we have a debt of 1,000 rand owing for 58 days from the 2nd of January to 1st of March, and at 7% the interest is 11 rand and 12 cents. We can use these spin buttons to easily change the date and the interest rate. For example, if we decide to pay back the debt on 20th of February, we click on the date down arrow, and we can see that as the end date changes, the number of days and the interest accrued are recalculated. The second calculator converts a nominal rate to an effective rate. The rate can be compounded over different periods. If we enter 100 Rand at 10% compounded monthly for 12 months, we can see the effective rate is 10.4%. This means that every month 1/12 of 10% or 0.83% is used as interest. This means that at the end of the first month, we have 100 Rand and 83 cents, and we keep adding 0.83% to our account every month. Because we are getting interest on interest, we finish the 12 months with 10 Rand 47 interest, which is an effective rate of 10.47%. This icon opens investment comparisons between fixed deposit and annuities. This calculator compares investing a capital amount into a fixed term annuity and a fixed deposit. The calculator shows which is the best option, including with tax implications if applicable. This icon opens a calculator to compare offshore and local investment returns. Local rates of return may be higher than offshore rates, but what about the exchange rate variations over a period of a few years? Let's consider investing R1 million offshore compared to investing R1 million locally. The term of the investment is 5 years. Let's assume a foreign interest rate of 1% and a local rate of 3%. And let's assume we expect the rand to lose 10% of its value a year. Let's also assume we will be paying tax on the returns from both investments at 30% tax rate. We can see that our local investment would be worth 1,109,503 Rand. Because the offshore interest rate is less than the local rate, the foreign investment would be worth a little less than the local amount, but the depreciation of the rand means we would get 1,667,672 Rand when we bring the money back to South Africa, and this means about 50% more in this example. This calculator opens the drawdown annuity calculator. This calculator will show how, with a little financial planning, it's possible to receive the income required from a living annuity for a much longer period. In addition, much more capital is retained with the investment company for far longer periods. The program offers its own accredited video lecture explaining exactly how this is done. This icon opens the real rate of return calculator. This calculator can be used to determine the real rate of return on anything from a simple investment to a complex property project. For example, let's say we invest 100,000 Rand into an investment fund for 12 months and receive 105,000 Rand when we cash in our investment. The fund claims a growth rate of 10%, while you say it looks more like 5%. The fund took you 100,000, paid costs and commissions of 5,000 and invested 95,000. After 1 year, they paid you 105,000, which they say is just over 10% return. You say you gave them 100,000 and they gave you back 105,000 a year later. That's 5%, right? The program shows a real rate of return nominal rate of 4.89%. You could use this real rate of return calculator to check a property venture. Let's say you can buy a piece of ground and erect a few shops on it for 2 million Rand. You enter monthly expenses and monthly income and propose selling the property for 5 million 5 years later. The real rate of return calculator shows what your real rate of return would be, 9.49%. This calculator opens the capital gains tax calculator. The program's capital gains tax calculator is very comprehensive and caters for both local and foreign gains listed on certificates from trusts, investment funds, etc., as well as determining the gains on primary residence, other assets, small business sales, etc. Partnerships and community of property transactions, time apportioned base cost, and the 80% 20% methods of determining base costs and gains, all catered for, as well as residency periods of primary residence, etc. Add as many capital gains tax transactions as you wish for a taxpayer and display how much of the gains will be added to normal income to be taxed at normal tax rates. The calculator screen is littered with info buttons offering information on what to enter where and how the calculations work. Plus, the program offers no less than 5 video tax lectures explaining everything you ever wanted to know about capital gains tax and how the calculations work. This icon opens the Tax on Lump Sums from Retirement Funds calculator. The Tax on Lump Sums calculator will calculate and display the tax due on any combination of lump sums withdrawn pre-retirement or lump sums taken at normal retirement. No less than 6 accredited video tax lectures are accessible from the program explaining exactly how SARS taxes lump sums. This icon opens the Pay-As-You-Earn calculator. This calculator will display the pay-as-you-earn UIF, SDL, medical tax credits, and maximum RF contribution allowed on a pay advice from an employer. Very useful for showing a taxpayer the difference that can be had by investing in a retirement plan or medical aid. The calculator also caters for travel allowance, fringe benefits for company cars, as well as for bonus and partial period calculations. This icon accesses the travel claim calculator. This calculator determines the claim against a travel allowance received. The calculator also allows the user to determine a claim allowed where no allowance was received, but the self-employed taxpayer needs to work out a claim for motoring costs. This icon accesses the quick tax calculator. You enter the taxpayer's age and taxable income, and the quick tax calculator shows the tax, primary rebates, and the average rate before and after rebates. The tax figures for current and previous tax years are shown for comparison.